Hey guys, welcome to the InvestorBet AFL Saturday Best Bets video. I'm going to go through my best bet in all four games for the AFL today. We've got GWS at home to St Kilda, Carlton against Adelaide, Port versus Freo, and then lastly Gold Coast versus Hawthorn. We'll start with the first game, GWS versus St Kilda. GWS undefeated so far this season. They're the number one attacking side in the league, averaging 115 points. And both these sides are really strong defensively, both top four defenses in majority of categories. A few of the categories are ranked a little bit higher, but overall both really strong defensively. This game, I feel like the line is slightly too high on the Giants, minus 21.5. They've had a very easy draw start this season. Obviously, they played Collingwood in their first game, but since then they've played North Melbourne, West Coast, and the Gold Coast Suns. So their numbers are going to be slightly inflated due to that. And St Kilda haven't been bad. They're 2-2 on the season. The two games they've lost have both been by under 10 points. So this is a really good test to actually see where both of these sides are at. And for those reasons, I'm going to stay away from the line in total for this game, and I'm going to play a player prop bet because we look at the disposals and rankings here for these sides. St Kilda give up the 136, which is ranked 16th in the league in opponent contested possessions, and also they're ranked lowly in opponent uncontested possessions, and also ranked 15th in opponent disposal. So this all points towards GWS players racking up the numbers, especially in the contested possessions category, which GWS are number one in the league at. And so for those reasons, I'm going with this three-leg same-game multi in this game, paying $2.31. Firstly, we're taking Stephen Coniglio, 25 plus disposals. He's hit this in 9 of his past 10 games, and he's ranked number 2 for the Giants in contested possessions. So he should be able to get the 25 plus. Lachie Whitfield, 25 plus as well. He's hit 25 or more disposals in 10 of his last 11 games, averaging 31.8 disposals so far this season. And he's ranked number 1 in uncontested possessions for GWS so far this season. And then the third leg, Tom Green to have 30 plus disposals. He only had 23 last week against Gold Coast coming off the bye, but he hit 30 plus in the previous 7 games prior to that. So I think against St Kilda, he should be able to, him being the number 1 contested possession player for the Giants, he should be able to get plenty off the ball against the Saints. So paying $2.31, that is the first bet for Saturday. The next game is Carlton take on Adelaide. Adelaide, who were the number 1 attacking side last season, only averaging 57 points a game this season, ranked 17th in the league. And just not generating enough chances down there, and shots on goal ranks 17th in the league in that category as well. This is going to be an issue for the Crows against the Carlton defense, who only give up 22.3 shots on goal per game for the opposition, which is ranked 4th in the league. And then they're ranked 7th in the league for opponent inside 50s as well. So Adelaide are definitely going to find it hard to hit the scoreboard in this game. They've also only scored 34 and 54 points in their 2 road games this season. So traveling over to Melbourne to play the Blues, I'm really worried about Adelaide finding enough points to give themselves a chance of winning this game. Then also with Carlton, they're ranked 4th in the league, averaging 95.5 points a game. However, the only time they've scored over 86 points this season was against North Melbourne. And Adelaide aren't really a bad defensive side. They're actually a better defensive team than Carlton in quite a number of categories. Ranked 7th in points conceded, number 3 in opponent goals, number 3 in opponent inside 50. So all these signs kind of point towards this being a low-scoring game, but the total is fairly low at the mid-160s. So how I'm going to play this game, I like Carlton to win, and I'm going to take the line under 185.5, playing those two together. So Carlton win under 185.5 points scored, pays $1.84 at Unibet. I think with these two selections, Carlton should be winning this game. Adelaide shouldn't be able to find enough points. And I also find it a little bit hard to see Carlton racking up, 110, 120 points against the way the Adelaide defense is playing this season. So that is going to be the second play for Saturday. You could also I could also look at this game, just take the under 168.5. I don't need to add Carlton to win, but the way I'm kind of playing it is I feel like I prefer a slightly higher line because I'm very confident Carlton are good enough to win this game at home. I also considered Carlton 1-39 for this matchup as well. So there's kind of a few ways I was considering going. But that is the play, the one I like the most that I've settled on in that game. Gold Coast at home to Hawthorn. Gold Coast rank higher than the Hawks in almost every category in attack and defense. At home, they should be good enough to win this game of what we've seen so far this season. They've definitely been playing better. They won their opening 2 games against Richmond and then the Crows, but have since dropped games against the Giants and against the Western Bulldogs. So they get an opportunity to bounce back here against the Hawks. But I think Hawthorn's numbers look a bit worse than they actually are. When you look through their schedule, they played the Bombers in their first game, who, aside from their game against Port Adelaide, have been, a mid-range kind of team this season, maybe slightly towards the better half of that. And then they've also played Collingwood, who they pushed right to the siren last week, then the games against Melbourne and Geelong as well. So their past 3 weeks especially, but you could also say 4 weeks they've been playing against the top half of sides in the league. And generally, when you're playing against the better side, your numbers aren't quite as good. So looking at this game, I feel like even though Gold Coast are definitely deserving to be favourite, they had a big win in this matchup last season against Hawthorn. They're deserving to be favourites for this game, but I don't think the line should be 25.5 points. The game last season where Gold Coast did beat up on Hawthorn, the Hawks were without James Sicily, who genuinely adds 20 to 30 points difference to how this Hawthorn team plays. I genuinely feel like he's worth around the 25-point mark, and was a big out for them when he was suspended last season. If you look through their games last year, how they played with him in the team, back in their defensive half compared to how they played without him, was massive. Obviously, the Hawks are still also have quite a few key players out with injury, but they showed that overcome that last week against Collingwood and keep that game really, really close. So for this game, I'm going to take Hawthorn plus 25.5. This is also a little bit of a more personal bet as well, but I still feel like the Hawks, this line should be slightly lower. We'll be going to this game as well with it being played on the Gold Coast. So Hawthorn plus 25, hopefully they can keep it close and ideally win the game. Port Adelaide versus Fremantle, last game for Saturday. Port coming off a really big win last week against the Bombers. Currently ranked 1 or 2 in majority of attacking categories, and they go up against what has been the #1 defensive side this season. So this is a really, really interesting game from that perspective. At home, though, I think Port Adelaide should be too good for Freo. Spoken about it previously. Fremantle a lot better at home than they are away from home. And Porter, top 2 attack and top 5 defense so far this season, which should be enough for them to get the win. I'm not going to play the line here for this game as I think it is slightly too high, but I wouldn't be surprised if Port were to cover it. So for this game, I'm going to take another same game multi. We're going Port to win. I really like them to win this game, but I don't want to take the minus 22.5. I'd more so lean to the 1-39 if I was going to take a margin or handicap bet for this game. Then we're going with Connor Rosie, 90 plus fantasy points. He's hit this in 17 of his past 18 games. And the only one of those 18 where he's missed it, he had 89 fantasy points in that game. So definitely should hit it. I'll quickly jump back to stats why I'm electing to go with these players as well to come back down to the possessions. Fremantle ranked 14th in the league in opponent uncontested possessions. And the reason why I'm just going with Port players is because Port do not give up opportunities to the opposition. You can see they're ranked #1 in majority of those categories. And in contested possessions, Fremantle are ranked 17th in the league. So if you're going to play Fremantle players, you need to find the players that rack up the uncontested possessions. However, they're going against Port, who are the #1 in the league for opponent uncontested possessions. So it's not really a great matchup for Fremantle. So coming back to the play for this game, the final leg we're going with Zach Butters, 25 plus disposals. He's hit 25 plus in his past 10 games, and he is the #1 uncontested possession winner for Port Adelaide, which is the key stat here that we're looking at. So, and the reason I'm going with the fantasy with Rosie is he's able to hit the scoreboard as well, averaging 1.5 goals per game this season. So the play, all those three legs together, pays $1.91 at Ned's or Ladbroke. So I'll quickly recap all the plays. So you can already see this one. Port into Rosie, 90 plus fantasy, and Butters 25 plus disposals. Then Hawthorn plus 25.5 at $1.90 at the TAB. Then Carlton and under 185.5 total points, $1.84 at Unibet. And then in the GWS Saints game, Caniglio 25 plus, Whitfield 25 plus, and Tom Green 30 plus, paying $2.31. So those are the bets that I'm going with for Saturday. If you're following along, good luck. Hope you guys have a great Saturday. The games on Sunday, if we quickly bring them up: Geelong versus North Melbourne, Geelong minus 57.5, and then West Coast versus Richmond. The Tigers are 13.5 point favorites. I'm going to be posting a video going through these games and the bets that I'm having on Sunday morning. So keep an eye out for that video. And I've also posted videos with my bets for the NRL this week as well. So definitely check those out. I'm pretty confident with the selections for Saturday. So across the AFL and NRL, we have a total of 6 bets for Saturday. So pretty heavy betting day. Hopefully you guys have a great weekend. Make sure if you like videos like this, you're interested in making money betting on sports, you subscribe to the channel, have notifications on so you don't miss any videos over the coming weeks and months.